Special guest this morning, Reinhardt, his assistant governor back there, and he's going to say our blessing this morning. Ron?
If you please. Father, we thank you for this food to nourish our bodies, the opportunity to serve, to nourish our souls. Use our hands, use our hearts, use our minds to fulfill your will for us on this earth. We ask for your presence now in your Son's name. Amen. Amen.
Thank you. Randall.
Good morning. Afternoon, excuse me. Jerry Normal has a guest. Jerry?
We used to say, when I wrote it, we don't say that anymore, but my wife Barbara.
Mike Casey has a guest. Mike?
Yes, my guest today is Tim Smith, and I'll just ask him to tell you a little bit about why he's here or what he's doing these days.
All right, well, thank you, Mike. Good to see so many friendly faces. I've known for quite some time, and some are new to me. But yeah, Tim Smith, the area representative here in Burke County for Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
We have a guest from the News Herald, Tammy Gerken. Tammy? Did I miss anyone? If not, to all our visitors and guests, welcome. We're excited about having you here and invite you to come back again.
Thank you, Randall. Actually, today is a special day. We get to announce the Distinguished Person of the Year today. And as you know, this thing goes back, started, wait, you always tell me how far back it is. 1948. So that's been a long time. This year is no different. One of the things I went back and looked at was this club currently has, we've got many of them in the past, but currently has 5 members that were past Distinguished Person of the Year and continue to be distinguished persons, but not this year. Tom Bland over there, Waits Gordon, David Russ, our own Bob Shepard, and Jerry Norval. And we have one other special person here today, which is Jerry's wife, Barbara, because she was the Distinguished Person of the Year last year? Year before. So we've got a good representation. And Jerry is going to, I've asked Jerry to actually announce the Distinguished Person this morning. Jerry?
Thank you. Your committee, your secret committee is met, and it gives me great pleasure to announce that our Distinguished Person of the Year this year is Morganton. He married his childhood sweetheart, and he is responsible for a lot of the downtown Morganton that we know as the downtown and a lot of other things which I will not elaborate. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce our Distinguished Person of the Year, John Campbell.
John, we normally let you speak this morning, but we've got a whole special banquet that you'll be able to talk all that you want to at that banquet. That'll be on April the 19th. Tickets will go on sale here shortly as soon as we get them printed up, because we just found out his name late last week. I didn't know John before meeting him a few days ago. Having done research and watching his reaction, he is a remarkable individual that really personifies service before self. With all the stuff that he has done and all the contributions he's made to this community, I couldn't imagine somebody more qualified than you, John. I just, first time I met him, I just thought, this guy's got the heart of service. And I just couldn't be happier that you're the distinguished person of the year. Thank you for all you've done for this community and taking the time to be with us today. Thank you very much. Did you want to introduce your wife? That's a good answer.
Not quite a childhood when we met, but she was a basketball player at Morganton High School. And she was pretty outstanding as a sophomore. And we got to know her when she was a sophomore and I was a senior. And I was about to go off to college to that prison down in Charleston, South Carolina, the Citadel. You know, so I changed my mind, and my dad, who was a Rotarian, agreed that Wake Forest might be a better place for me to go. And that was one of the better decisions that I made. This was the best one.
Very good.
And she agreed.
I want to say something about him too. Thank you, John. I've got several other announcements I need to go through this morning. Cart buckets are on the table. If you can hear some ching-ching in that thing. One of the things I was going to start is in the news. And I saw this picture of the board for Western Piedmont. I got a blank there. Western Piedmont. And we've got 3 members on this board. You'll notice I put halos over the head because all 3 of them are. Right? And my wife saw this and she immediately said 2 of them are red and 1 of them's gold. And gold being over Dalton's head, right? So I don't want to imply any character associated with the red halos versus the gold one. It's just a background color kind of thing. Though Dalton thought he did have a golden halo versus the more evil-looking red one. So we got 3 members on that. Of course, so Ronnie shows up in the paper, in the news. He's scowling at air tanks there, looking at budgets for the city. So we have several members in the news as we go along. We've got a new website. We've talked about that. Hopefully you visited, most of you have visited that website monthly. As soon as we get it all set up, we've already tried it once. It's going to pick up all the new stuff that's been on the website, blast it out as an email to you so that it kind of keeps you on top of things that are going on, because we're getting busier and busier. We do need volunteers to help that. That Oppen has agreed to load everything in, but he can't be here every week, so we need volunteers. Just take a few pictures, a couple of words. Paper's good about putting anything we have in the paper, so let me know if you would like to volunteer. Just take kind of, Greg does a bunch of that already. But we need other people whenever he's off doing business or something. Rise Against Hunger. Doug, you want to talk about that?
We've got a sign-up sheet started around. You can sign up for one or both, either. We're going to do Freedom on March 15th at High School on 22nd. You'll just come in the front entrance of the school and ask for the cafeteria to have there for Rise Hunger Now. Rise Against Hunger, and go in there. I've got 2 o'clock on the sign-up sheet, but anytime you get there, I'll help. The kids will get out of school probably 2:45, so we'll probably get started about 3 o'clock. So I guarantee you're going to enjoy it if you come and participate in that. So sign-up sheet's there. We'll have it next week probably again. If you, like I say, either one of them.
It's a great time. A bunch of screaming and hollering, and these kids have a good time doing it. And they pack, each school does about 10,000 meals, and then we kind of watch their time, and they get competitive against each other, and it's just fun. It's a lot of fun. Habitat House, April 7th. I've got a sign-up sheet going around for the Habitat House on April 7th. One of the things we're doing on the Distinguished Person this year is donating $1,000 to a charity of his choice, And one of the things that John has been on is the board of Habitat House, and so he's going to use that $1,000 that we'll contribute to the Habitat House in his honor this year. So I'm going to sign up. You can see some of the people that have been there in the past. We've done this every year for I don't know how many years now, and we'll have another one in the fall. So here's the sign-up sheet. It's a good time. Any questions on those? We got the Ohana Mud Run, August 18th. Big fundraiser, hopefully 10,000 bucks plus. We've got 3 committees that we're working on now. There's planning, building, and the sponsorship. And Sanji, you want to say something about the sponsorship?
Yes. In the center of your table, there's a small piece of white paper. It's got minimal instructions on it, so that's what I'm here for. We're getting ready to start our sponsorship drive. And as you know, the sponsorships are what the excess that we make to donate to our cause. Our cause this year,
Yeah, go ahead.
our cause this year, we are going to be working with Burke County Public Schools on the backpack program for the weekends for the kids who otherwise don't get food. And we have some statistics to share on that coming up. But on this sheet, I would like for each of you to fill one of these out, put your name here, and then give me at least 2 businesses that you are willing to contact for a corporate sponsorship. And that way we can make sure there aren't 2 people wanting to contact the same person. We can make sure that everybody is contacting someone. If you don't turn one in, we'll make assignments to you. So probably a good idea to tell us who you want to talk to. If you would, just fill these out and leave them on the tables today.
And as always, these sponsorships are critical in the sense that we think registration is going to take care of all the overheads and costs, etc., set this whole thing up. And where the money comes in, so 100% of the dollars going to the sponsorships will end up in a pool that goes toward feeding kids on the weekend. So the sponsorship piece is a critical part of this whole plan that we've got. Last year we made about $5,900, so we're trying to double that. Really, I'd like to see 10 to 15,000. 10 is kind of a minimum. We've already got a couple of sponsors in. We're $2,500, so we're on our way. We're 1/4 of the way to the 10,000. We need to finish that out as soon as we can. You'll start seeing Alex has already begun to hit Facebook with promotions. I don't know what the last number of registrations that we had, but that's already is beginning also. So I think everybody that was out there last year will tell you they had a great time. It was a good time. It was a lot of work, but a good time and a great venue out there. Any questions on that? Comments, suggestions, additions? Today our program is, and I'm just so glad that Allison showed up. I've had to dance before Allison. So Allison Asbel is that right? Okay. She's a communication guru and a mama to her daughter. She loves everything outdoors, likes photography, reading books, good Netflix stories. She graduated with a BA in communication from Emory and Henry College. Ron, you know where Emory and Henry is? Yes, all right. Been there. And it's up in Virginia. She's got a master's in public relations from Syracuse University. She's now the executive director for the Meeting Place, which is a mission for homeless individuals in the community. With that, Allison, it's all yours, and you need the computer, is that right? All right, let's get you fast out of here. I'm not sure how to do that. Where's our... Is it PowerPoint? Is that what it is? get that. He was a Windows, he's a Windows expert.
Hi, everybody. First of all, thanks for having me. So I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know this was gonna be a group this big. Alan did not tell me that, and of course he's not here. So funny. If my grandpa were alive, he would be really excited that I'm here. He was a Rotarian in Alabama for over 70 years. He tried to get the Guinness Book of World Records to have him put in for that. So if he were alive, he would be super proud of me to be here. But a quick note about me, so you know that I'm Allison. I just recently accepted the position as a director for the Meeting Place. So a big thank you again for having me. If you don't know what the Meeting Place is, we work to end homelessness here in Burke County with hope and opportunity. We do a lot of projects throughout the year in the community. One of some of the pictures for our events that we do each year. Give Cheese a Chance, like you see here in the corner, is one of our biggest fundraisers. And then Giving Tuesday is kind of a play on Giving Tuesday. And we just had that in November, and we were able to use our funds to put a bunch of shoes on our clients' feet. So that's a big thing if you're homeless. So like I said, that we do serve the homeless and the underserved here in Burke County, and one of our programs, the Susie Fitzgerald Women and Children's Shelter, in 2016 we were able to have 3,192 night stays in 2016, and that's a lot for those who don't know the homeless community. So look at our programs. If you don't know, we have the Susie Fitzgerald Women and Children's Shelter. We have our men's transitional home and our FACES program. That's Families and Children Evolving Safely. So here's a picture of our Susie Fitzgerald Women and Children's Shelter located on White Street. It provides a safe night stay for women and children who have nowhere to go. It is a emergency shelter, so what that means is that it's open from 5:30 in the evening till 8 in the morning. When you come, we will give you a bed, a hot meal, we will give you a shower, we will launder your clothes, so that's kind of part of the deal. We kind of have a policy and procedure when you come in. To give you structure, we give you a chore to do to get a structure in the lives of people that come in, based on the case management that we provide, also to get people in the process of finding transitional housing. Here's our men's transitional home, and this is what started the Meeting Place in 2004. It was started by a group of men that realized that there was no program for men in recovery from alcoholism or substance abuse here in Burke County, and that was the best way to start real change in our area. And that's on Burkemont Avenue here in Morganton. And then our FACES program, that's the Families and Children Evolving Safely program, and that is when families come to us after they've been living in cars, couch surfing, living in dangerous situations. So we don't just give people housing, we give them jobs so they can provide their own homes, and then that helps them set that goal to move towards. Since 2010, FACES has been continually filled and one of our most successful programs. And if you don't know, all of our programs have actually been 100% successful when we do transition people into housing. So one thing about the Meeting Place, it's extremely difficult to provide and giving back to the homeless, but $10 at our Women and Children's Shelter We'll provide clean clothes, a bath, a meal, a bed, and even homework for kids. We do provide that as well. So a big fundraiser we just had was the Big 20. You may have seen it, we shared it on Facebook, and it was a big successful fundraiser that we had. We raised just at $1,000, I believe, in a matter of like 2 weeks. $20, we were able to, provide milk and fresh fruit for a week at the shelter. It provides 2 months laundry detergent, backpack school supplies that we did for kids that we noticed that were in the shelter. We also had some hygiene products for 2 months. We did have some toddlers that were recently at the shelter, which we haven't had in a while. We're a big group of kids. And we also could supply 1 month's cleaning supplies at the Faces homes, which is a duplex on Meeting Street. So our goals in 2018 are more successful transitions, continued case management, which is a big push behind the success of our program. It's something that we provide the entire time to our clients. We want to hire more staff and have bigger fundraisers. That's something that helps us continue to be successful. So that's just a little quick overview on our program and what we do. I could talk about it for a long time, but I am new, so of course there's a lot of things that I probably don't know. There's a lot of people could probably also assume. But if you do have any questions, I would love to answer what I do know. Anybody? Anybody?
How does homeless learn about you?
So a lot of our clients learn about us through referrals. That is something that we have figured out also, and it's just sitting in the office, I get a lot of phone calls from people looking for shelter from the internet, from Facebook, that kind of thing.
Could you talk a little bit more about the FACES program?
So, except for the Women and Children's Shelter, our FACES program and our Men's Transitional program is based on a wait list. So we do an intake process, and then you are kind of put on a wait list if you're not already in it. What we do is we help you assess the chronic homeless, how you got there. We provide case management. We put you in transitional housing, and then we help you find and get into permanent housing. Little fact sheet I have.
How much transitional housing do you actually have?
So we have to find that transitional housing, which is a hard thing to do because landlords are, and this is something that I'm learning in this process, landlords are not very keen on wanting people that have been previously homeless in their residence. So that's something that we have to go out and find, and it's a bargaining chip sometimes. We have to be able to say, oh, so we will provide this if you're willing to have this client our client in your residence. It's we are I'm working that landlord list currently. It is difficult. I've figured that out, that a lot of people who do rent don't necessarily want people that have been homeless in their the places that they rent. However, the clients that we have jobs. That it is a myth that homeless people do not work. More than 3/4 of the women who come into our shelter have jobs, and 90% of the families and 75% of all the single women have been successful in the transitions from the shelter into housing. So what we do is we actually take 30% of the income that you make and we put it into a savings account, and that helps pay for things like utilities and rent and, bills. And we help pay for that, but it also helps them learn to save. And case management, which is such a successful part of what our program does, it helps them learn things like budgeting and money management, things that they don't know about or haven't been able to be successful in before. So case management is something that helps our clients be successful, because we realize that without the case management, they are not successful in their transition into permanent housing.
I think you said that you had 3,200 night stays in your women and children's shelter, is that?
In 2016, yeah.
How many different unique individuals does that represent?
So that is unduplicated stays. So based on, excuse me, the program used to document that. I don't know exactly if that's, you know, the demographic between kids, women, and but that's women and children. So that's 3,000, 3,200 night stays, unduplicated women and children.
You mean you serve that many different individuals, 3,200?
3,200 unduplicated, yes. Between a year.
How many different bodies does that represent?
Well, okay, so like night stays are, if there were 10 people at the shelter last night, that means there were 10 night stays. Does that make sense?
But what if that 10 comes back tomorrow night? That's another 10.
That's another 10.
Okay, that's
yeah.
what he's asking. There are repeat individuals.
Right. Yes, there are repeat individuals. So, like right now, we have clients that are repeat clients. Yeah.
You said you have a wait list. What happens to those that you're unable to serve at this time?
So
Do you have a referral to other systems?
we can refer them to other systems, but they have wait lists too. So the only thing that we can do is keep trying to work the clients that we have, to get them into housing as quickly as possible, to get the people that we have on the wait list into housing as quickly as possible. But the people that are on the wait list are also trying to get housing as quickly as possible. So by the time that we have an opening, they might have already found housing. So we work that wait list all the time.
What's your main source of funding?
Well, personal giving and grants is our main source of funding. And
Separate those. How much is grants and how much is personal giving?
personal giving is our main source of funding. Yes, and then grants will come right after that.
And annual budget?
Looking at our budget for 2018, which is what I was looking at, it is, and don't quote me on that, because I'm still learning all this stuff, and so I might get embarrassed if y'all get back to Susie and tell her something that I said, because she sent me out to do this all by myself. Our budget is, because like I was just doing this yesterday, I think it's like $160,000 a year.
How many,
That sound right? Yes, sir.
how many staff you had, and you said you were looking to increase the number of staff, what in particular are you looking for?
Right now, we have 6 staff, and that is house managers and overnight shelter staff. And right now, we are trying to get more overnight shelter staff because funding for nonprofits is a big issue. And when you're dealing with chronically homeless, you're also dealing with people with mental health issues and addiction issues. And unfortunately, when you're paying people $8 an hour to stay for 13 hours overnight, that's not a whole lot of compensation. And so we're trying to get more people to come in so, you know, it's worth their time.
And what's the difference between this and like options or refuge house?
So options deals, from what I understand, specifically with domestic violence. And we're not just domestic violence. We are an emergency shelter, so if you have nowhere to stay, you come to us and we will not turn you away. Last night at our shelter, we had 14 people. Yeah. Our staff emailed us saying that they were literally sitting on the couch because all of our cots were filled, all the beds were filled. It was a full house. Yeah.
What's the estimated census for homeless in Burke County?
I have that written down. I should get that back to you, but I'm not real sure.
Anything else?
On a real cold night, are there people that cannot find a place in Morganton?
I'm sure there are always people who can't find a place to stay on a real cold night, but even on in inclement weather, there's a certain procedure, and it's slipped my mind, but our men's transitional home will open its doors to anybody, and our women and children's shelter does the same thing. We will not turn people away. But even though our men's transitional home is a wait list, on the inclement weather, we will let people in just because of the weather. We don't want people to freeze.
I have a quick question. What do you do as far as security measures?
So we do have like intake procedures and trainings that our staff has to do for that very reason, because we want people to be safe and because we don't have the best funding. I mean, we understand that if you're coming to us and you're saying we want this job, you are pretty much doing it because you want to see people, you know, do better in their lives. You're not coming to us because of the pay, you know. They're your rules. How did I do?
You did great. All right, so there's a lot of opportunity out there for each of us. One of the things that we mentioned before is Nancy's working on her group as what is the purpose for this club? What can we really impact and change? So part of that circle that we're looking at is all these various pieces of the needs in the community like Morganton and Burke County. So thanks very much for coming, Allison, and talking to us and bringing it to our attention. Randall, you got a drawing?
We do. We have $887. We have 21 cards.
John, I got 203 through 292.
280. 280. Thank you for participating.
Thank you, visitors, Tim and John and Brenda, of course, for coming. Barbara, we look forward to seeing you again soon, anytime. And Bob came all the way from the metropolis of Hickory. And Tammy, thanks very much.
In a high wind.
In a high wind.
In a high wind.
That's because you're driving too fast.
Yes, that's true too.
Jack, you want to give us the four-way test for us, please?
The four-way test of the things we say and think or do. First,
is it true?
Second,
is it fair to all concerned?
Third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
fourth,
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
let the
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.